What's going on, world? Sometimes when I'm researching people that are going to be on my podcast, instantly I get a feel for them. And I'm going to be honest with you, I thought I had a lot of personality. But just by looking at this person online, I knew that she had more personality than I do. So
Well,
I
I
am
don't know about that.
no. Look, and here's the thing. I could tell that you are as passionate about your community. I seen a t-shirt and it says Alabama obsessed, right? Or obsessed with Alabama. And I said, oh, she letting you know exactly what's going on. So I am elated to have Amy Cotney on today. What's going on, Amy?
Guys, busy beginning of the January. I'm looking forward to a great 2020. Yeah, it's all good.
It is all good. Now, one thing I noticed, you love all things Alabama, right? And I know that I am a diehard Chicago South Side girl. And we both volunteer. We both believe in our communities. Heck, we are both, I'm not going to call us serial entrepreneurs, but we have seen shifts in markets that allowed us to shift our businesses, right? And so you've owned multiple businesses, but you're all about community. Where did your love come from for your community?
Well, so I live in a college town and I grew up in a college town. I'm originally from Florida, so I can't have I thought, I swear, my goal when my last kid graduated was like, I'm moving to Napa. I'm going to be drinking wine all day long, selling wine. But no, I fell in love with Auburn. It's a college town. It's a warm town. It's diverse for Alabama. We have a lot of professors, a lot of people coming in and out. It's this vibe in this town. It's crazy. It's like my little go-go juice. I don't know. It's like the perfect, it's about 80,000 people here. And so if I go out in the community, everybody knows who you are, which can be a good and it can be a bad thing. So just, after two glasses of wine, it might not be a good thing, but it's just this passion that this community has. And it's like, it's enveloped me as well. And so I love it. And now you couldn't probably drag me away.
So there's this thing, they talk about riches and niches, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm consistently telling realtors, even in bigger cities, right? They need to own a segment of the city. It kind of just blows me away when I hear them say, I'll do all things. Yeah. And then I tell them, I want you to go back and look at the top producers in our marketplace, and you will realize they don't do everything. Every top producer I know, when you say their name, you know where they do business and who they're doing business for. And so I noticed that in your marketing, it's always about your city. Always about your city. And you infuse a lot of personality and color into all of your marketing. Now tell me about this car that you have, because was that pinstripe colors that I saw on the vehicle?
It's called, her name is Spicy.
Oh, her name is Spicy. Come on, Spicy.
Spicy's a Mini Cooper. And that's definitely, that's not my full-time car. She's my Friday fun car. So I don't drive her when I go pick up somebody. They're like that. I would be like, oh, this lady's a wacko. So that's the car I bring out when you get to know me a little bit better. I don't want to scare off potential buyers, but it's definitely my personality. And when I drive around town it's like, you've got to be on parade. I mean, you can't stop at the stoplight and pick your nose, put your lipstick on, because everybody's going to see you in that car. I love it, though. So she's my baby, but definitely a marketing tool for sure.
How much business do you think you've gotten as a result of the car?
Of the car? I can't say that. I do know that everybody, like I went on a listing appointment the other day, and they're like, are you the lady who drives the car? The kids said that. The kids. I'm like, yeah, that would be me. So it's a very well-known car around Auburn. And I can't say that I do use it for social media to just I'll park it in front of the real estate office and take a picture of it. Spicy's having a good day today, making sales. I use that all around, and it just makes people happy. My thing is, like, I love making people happy and smile. And that's kind of what I do, and I use that. Now, my social media, I would say 80% of my sales come from social selling. and getting my name out there on social media.
So when I decided to make real estate my full-time job back in 2003, I had a black Mercedes station wagon, and I went and I wrapped it with homestosell.net. And I don't know how many sales, but I do know for a fact that I closed on a $418,000 townhouse, even back then, as the result of the car, because the man pulled me over on the outer drive. He owned like the Meineke car shops, and he wanted to sell his townhouse in the High Park neighborhood. And so I let people know, I can tell you, I know that dollar figure to be exact, because he kept pulling me over, and I'm like, is he crazy? And he was in the Meineke truck, and I knew his face. And so I closed on his townhouse. But there was something else you said. So I'm loving the car and the fact that you own your brand. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, you have a automobile that is wrapped, but you wrapped it. It kind of looks like not a rainbow, but more like a sucker, like with the swirl, bright, vivid colors and kind of like a pinstripe pattern. So anybody on the street is going to see it. So I would say a unique selling proposition, because you don't have a typical car, and the reason you wrapped it because you didn't want to be typical, right? But there was something else you said that stood out to me. You said children leaving the house. Now, when I looked online, because of your personality, I know that your personality tells me 30. Right. But then because I'll be 50, I said, I think she might be just a little older than in her 30s. So you have adult age children.
Yep.
Am I making that right?
I do. I do. Well, yeah, they're children and they're adults.
Look, don't feel bad. I have one myself. I know exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, adult age children, because they aren't 100% self-sufficient quite yet, even though they can have great jobs, right? Okay, well, that's another story. How does it feel though to be at the age that you are, the age that we are, but know that your personality is 20, 25 years younger? And what I'm admiring is the fact that we aren't young, but we've gotten out our own way to embrace social media and technology, and to allow our knowledge and our personalities to shine online.
So I'm 53.
Come on, cuteness.
You nailed it. And you know what? I have always been like, I haven't that bright colored person. I don't even know how to dress normal. Like, I don't. And then people wouldn't expect me to show up in a pencil with a Talbot outfit on for a listing appointment. That's just not me. That's not ever going to be me. So I have embraced myself as far as like, this is me. This is what you're getting. I excel at marketing. I can sell your house. I can brand your house because I can brand myself. And I think that's one of my strong points is being authentic. I'm authentic, and I can also sell a house in an authentic way, because every house is different. You're not going to sell every house the same way as you do another house. So kind of use all of that. But yeah, I don't get embarrassed. I embarrass the crap out of my kids. So I have all boys, and when I've had that car since 2003. It's an original when they first came out with Mini Coopers, and it used to have polka dots on it. It was like stripe top, polka dots. Now it's just all this stripes everywhere. So I would say to them, I won't pick you up from school in this car if you don't do your homework. If you may, I would threaten them with that. And they're like, oh no, Mama, don't do that. So I have always been the same person. I've had stores called Hissy Fits, Kiss My Little Sass, all kinds of stuff. And it's just kind of me. And I thought everybody's like, oh, you're selling real estate. You can't do that when you're selling real estate. And I was like, well, heck, I can't. And I guess one of my greatest accomplishments is being able to still be me and still be one of the top producers in Lee County. So I embrace that. I have no other option but to embrace it.
So let me ask you this. So we have, if I looked at real estate, right, we have those who are coming in, those millennials, some of them never had a job before. And then we're also often the fourth, fifth, sixth occupation in our lives. And I'll say, I don't know if this was like occupation number 10 for me, which one it was, but it was, like at least the 10th occupation. What words of wisdom would you give to someone coming into the business now as it pertains to branding?
Oh, I just had to talk. I do a lot of mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say coaching because I'm definitely not a coach, but I do a lot of mentoring, and we talk a lot about this. You have got to be a little bit different from everybody else. You've got to. And everybody's like, well, Amy, I can't be like you. No, you can't. You've got to be you, but you've got to be you in a version that is going to get some attention. Whether it be community driven, like what I do, as far as shout outs to business and everybody knowing who I am because I give love to everybody out there on social media, or niching what you do. If you have and I tell this I got off the phone with somebody yesterday. I'm like, what is your passion? Do you like decor? Niche that. I am really good at decor. I can help stage your house. You've got to find that riches in the niches, what you do really well as a realtor. I mean, and if you are just out there posting pictures of, look what I did. I sold this. I sold that. That ain't going to do it anymore. It's so noisy. And I feel like social media, especially this past year and 6 months, it's so noisy. And girl, I had to dress up in an elf suit and run around Auburn, Alabama, dressed up as an elf. That's what I did this year to get to like little things like that. But it gets me, I don't want anybody to ever go, what does Amy do? Does she sell real estate? No, everybody in town knows I sell real estate. And so that's kind of what I do. And I do it in my way. But everybody can be authentic in their own way, but you got to do it. You got to be authentic in your own way and create some sort of noise.
I don't think people ask themselves what is different about them, because everyone is always trying to conform to the norm.
Yeah.
And as I often tell people, I only do this to encourage them to do video. I am the shortest, darkest, roundest person in the room with the least amount of hair. And
I know.
Yeah. And let me tell you this, that's like 99.9% of the time. So I'm always the different person in the room. And I tell people, I don't really even want to ever let my hair grow because I don't want to fit and conform to what everyone else is doing. And people know me. I've had short hair now since 1986, and I cut it off because I was a foreign exchange student living in Reykjavik, Iceland, and I didn't bring the proper adapters for my curling iron. So I said, by the time my mom gets me one, I can just go cut my hair off and let it grow back when I get home. And that was kind of like the start of it. But it's what's differentiated me from everyone else. Now, I know that you have a strong sense of community. In Chicago, I was born and raised in the restaurant business. My family's been in business since 1954. And even in my high school memory book, I stated I was going to be married, I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I was only going to have sons. So I have 2 sons too, but there's an 11-year age difference. They're 23 and 12. So we got some things in common with the boys. So we got to hold our own when you're the only woman in the house, right? You better be a brave soul.
That's right.
What are some of the unique things that you do in your community to help all of the businesses grow?
Well, so I have a podcast, Between Two Amy's. I have another Amy that does the podcast with me, who's a realtor. We have that podcast, and whether it be somebody that's doing something special in the community, I'm trying to think of what we do with that, like what our last one was. So again, like I live in a college town. There's so many cool people in this town that nobody knows about. And I will tell you this, I started the podcast exactly a year ago. And you probably feel this way too. But sometimes we don't take the time to sit down and talk to somebody for an hour. We just don't. We're all so busy. That hour of a week in my podcast is like the best hour. And they come into I have a podcast room in my house, and we do it live. And it is so refreshing. And what that does is that goes onto my Facebook, my YouTube, and whoever I'm talking to, that gets all spread out into social media land. And that's my way of giving back to the community, letting know everybody what's going on in the community. If it's a business owner, helping them grow their business, I hope. That's my main goal, is to like let more people know that they're open. And what they do. I also do business spotlights, and those are videos with just me. And I have like a little videographer. I call them everybody's a little videographer, little people in my world, I don't know why I use that term, but so I have a videographer, and I'll do a business spotlight where we go all in and we interview that certain business, whether it be a brick and mortar store. I'm trying to think of what else I've done as of recently. A lot of stuff around campus that I'll do, different people, but all relating to businesses, and basically something that they can put on their Facebook. And it's kind of like a little commercial, basically, because we do B-roll showing what they're selling, showing the big, huge cinnamon roll, which sounds really good right now, coffee or whatever from at a coffee shop. And then I let them have it as well, so that they can share it as a commercial too. So that's kind of one of my passions, big time.
Wow. So what comes to mind for me is Dale Chumley. I want to say he might now be the past president of Washington Realtors. And I want to say the year was 2010, 2011. He did 365 things to do the Clark County Guide. And every single day he highlighted a different business in his community. He would roll a 30-second or less video. It was 100 words or less and 3 photos. And I believe it put him on the map. I know that he was one of Inman's most influential people in real estate as a result of him doing this blog post every single day, 365 days of the year. But what's interesting about that is that some of the businesses that Dale mentioned, their only online presence was because Dale gave them that online presence. So when people were doing searches, let's say 50 of them had no online presence. Technically, people are getting to know Dale as a result of him highlighting other businesses. And it changed his business, substantially. It increased his business. Another thing I'm thinking is Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I've been meaning to reach out to this young lady. She owns the Content Planner. I found the Content Planner on Instagram, and I've referred her a boatload of business. So I need her to know I've referred a business. I even bought a planner because we both stayed at the same hotel in Maui. And I was researching the hotel and restaurants because someone had me saving $400 a day to eat in Maui. There's like, the food is so expensive. If you want to feed you and a family of 3. So I hadn't saved this $400 a day. And that just hit me like, there's no way I'm spending $400 a day on food. I want to spend this money on something else. And I think I got our food costs down to like $100. But I found her and started following her business because she happened to check in on one of her posts at the same location I was staying. So people don't think it's always about me in real estate. But essentially, you are connecting yourself to all these businesses. And if they don't have an online presence, when someone goes to Google those businesses, or someone goes on Instagram and does a location search, they're coming up with Amy.
Right. That's right. I'm a big believer in Instagram too. I'll tell you this, and this has to go back with my personality. So Instagram, I have sold probably 5 properties. The first time this happened to me, I was DM'd, and they're like, "Hey, we're moving from California. We're looking for a house in Auburn." I'm like, "Auburn, Alabama? Why are you moving to Auburn, Alabama from the Silicon Valley?" And they're like, "No, we really are." So, how they found me though is from Instagram. So, they searched real estate in Auburn. That's how I do hashtags, realtor in Auburn. And they found me. So, 5 sales, and I don't put any zero money goes into ads on Instagram for me right now. That's going to change a little bit because Instagram's, algorithms are changing or have changed. But, when you talk a $450,000, $500,000 house off of an Instagram, just your presence on Instagram, that's pretty big. And that's happened to me. And I use California because people from California see different, and they're fine with that. You know, the South tends to be not so. Growing up, and I grew up in Florida, so I'm not a complete Southerner. But the South is a little bit different. You know, you wear your little Talbot outfit and you wear your little heels and stuff. California, not so much like that, as far as they're like, oh, girl in bright colored car, I want to go with her, you know. So that's kind of helps me as far as me being a little bit out there, and on Instagram too. It's really important with those tags and hashtags, and I can't, yeah.
So you know what I'm thinking? I was teaching a class. I'm not going to call the state out, but it's a state that has a lot of rural areas. And there's a managing broker there who will not allow any of his agents to utilize social media and technology because, well, let me say this part he got right, because he doesn't know anything about it, so he can't oversee the activity. What is horrible about it is it's a location that people often relocate to. So even though they might not, even in the South, right, they might not be advocates of social media and technology, but if you understand that a certain percentage of the business is relocation business to that location, those people who are relocating from Silicon Valley, from Austin, Texas, from New York, from Boston, they're going to be high-tech utilizers, and they're going to find you the same way this couple found you. And I just did kind of like the math, right? If it was me, right? That means that on Instagram with spending no money, right? You've probably earned $75,000 just from being consistent. If you looked at the time vested, it would be worth the time you put into it in order to earn that amount of money at no cost, you know, no additional marketing cost. And so I'm always looking at how I'm gonna dominate this community for little to no cost and have fun. And you're having a ball. But now I'm thinking, how much of that relocation business can you dominate? Because you probably fit in, right? A vibrant personality, outgoing, outspoken, when they're looking from these other places like the Boston, the New Yorks. And then you'll get the sale too. You get whenever they rent it out, whenever they sell it, you'll lease it, you'll sell it for them. How much of your community involvement includes volunteering?
So I volunteer at a local, I'm a horse person, grew up with horses. So I volunteer at a local place called Storybook Farm, where I go once a week for about 4 hours, you know, and it's a commitment. As a realtor, that's a commitment, because I have to, like, you know, in real estate, man, it's like, you don't know, okay, I want to go look at this house right now. Gotta go look at it now. Or, you know, deals gone bad, things blowing up. But I mark out my calendar for that. And that's very important to me. And I've met some awesome people. And also people see that I'm giving back. And I post, like, I do my little Instagram stories if I'm out of the farm. And it just, people love that. And the one thing I will say too about the community and stuff, guess who people DM me? Hey, Amy, what's going on Friday night in Auburn? I mean, it's crazy. I'm like, that's why I'm called the social mayor. I'm like, well, let's see. There's a band playing at this bar. But they come to me for everything. Oh, Amy, do you know somebody who can come get these boxes? I mean, I get the most bizarre questions. So, but that's good. And I want them to remember that's one reason why I do all that. I want them to come to me and go, and remember, Amy sells real estate. She knows what the market, she knows what's going on. And yes, everybody's like, it's what you do is exhausting. Yeah, but I'm a high energy person just like you. So I'm like, woo! The more the energy's out. My husband the other day, he's like, I've got a lot going on right now. And he's like, you are on steroids. We were just like, rah! And I said, I know, it's crazy. But that's because the more I have going on, the more, you know, I'm just going for it. But I'm very blessed with blessed and cursed, because it takes a lot to slow me down with a high energy. But you can do something every single day. And I tell people that there's something in your community that you can do every single day. If you're out to lunch, you can take a picture. Hey, I'm at this restaurant. Tag that restaurant in your Instagram story. Give love back. Give constantly. And I totally believe all that comes back to you. And that's kind of my thing, my niche that I do a lot of. And it is exhausting. It is, but it works.
The other day I was teaching a class, promotional products. I don't even know how, but we had classes on Saturday in Orlando, Florida. And I talk about my community a lot. However, I don't ever say anything negative about the community. Right. And I like to reference that. It's not that there aren't bad things in the community. I'm not the person who's going to highlight it. So if I come to your establishment and I don't like your service or your product, I'm going to say something to you personally, but I'm not going to go to the internet and talk poorly about your business, because it helps to depreciate the community and the services in the whole community. Right. And so as I tell people, if I talk about you, I like you. And my grandmother, I think we probably all heard the same thing from my grandmother, right? If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Exactly. And so people say, well, we don't ever hear you say anything negative. Well, there's so many other places you can go to. But let me say this. There was a time when I did say something negative, and this is what happened. We have very bad winters here. And so after the winters, when they put out all the salt trucks, there are a lot of potholes. So I went down a street one day, and I mean, like, literally you had to swerve down the street. There were so many potholes. And I came online and I talked about how they need to fix all these big butt potholes. And the next time I took a client out, they wanted to know, are we going down the block with all the potholes? And I'm like, oh, you all are following me, and you remember the one negative thing? Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else negative, especially as a real estate professional, because I don't want that perception about the community. Yep. You know, yep. So I encourage people, when they don't tie mentally to the fact that this is the community you're trying to sell. They can go Google and find all the negative. If the restaurant is horrible, believe me, there's some Yelp reviews on there that are bad. But you don't have to be the bearer of the bad news.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So now I know that you do a lot of great things in the world. If someone wanted to connect with you, relocate, you said you didn't say coach, right? You said mentor. How do they go about connecting with you if they want to own and dominate their community?
I am so easy to find. But most people find me on Instagram, or they'll DM me on Facebook message, because I'm on both of them all the time. And I say all the time, and I tell people, I'm like, it might appear that I'm on there all the time, but I'm really not, or I wouldn't be selling houses. So I have a very big routine, Facebook morning, night, the same thing with Instagram, but I'm very consistent with that too. I think that's another thing that people need to understand. You have to be consistent. If you're not, this day and age, and like I said earlier, there's so much noise out there, you will get lost. So consistency is key when you're doing the social, and again, finding that little niche that you love and that you're passionate about, because people love passionate people. They do. They love happy people, and they love passionate people, and they love smiles. And if you can make somebody smile and do what you're loving to do, guess what? You're going to be successful. I mean, it is what it is on that one. If you're negative Nelly, like you said, and you're pulling out things like, oh, I wish that, we would quit building townhouses in downtown. No, you cannot do that. You have to be positive about it. So I stay very positive. I might have an opinion, but then I just go tell my husband my opinion, because I have learned we are in such an interesting real estate. It's so interesting. Like the minute I put in anything political, which I don't, or religious, because I'm in the South and I don't, it's either going to go good on your business or it's going to kill your business. So you just don't even say anything like that or make a comment, nothing like that. It's all, as my husband says, it's all rainbows and unicorns. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much, because that's really what people want to see. They want to be happy. And they want happy stuff. There's so much negative out there. So that's kind of.
When we look at sentiment and engagement online, either it has to be negative
Yep.
or to get that same, I guess, response, it has to be extremely positive.
Mhm.
And for people like us, because we've stayed on the very positive side, it's easier for us because it's routine. We might have some bad thoughts, but then we always think, the words I say to myself is concentrate on the solution, not on the problem. That's
Yep.
like a couple of times a day, because I'm pretty sure we can both go in and rip
Yes.
a new butthole, right? Uh,
Yes.
but that's not going to serve us. And it also comes back to a legacy. And I don't think that people are taking in consideration everything we're saying online will be a part of our legacy. It's something that our grandchildren and our great grandchildren can actually come back and see. And they'll be like, oh, she was OC. What was wrong with her? I personally don't want that. I want them to think, she, you know what? She had a nice personality. She got along well with the community. These kind of the things that I would love to see. And these things that we're saying and doing will become a part of our legacy. The question is, what will they say about us?
That's right. I
Yeah,
agree.
what will they say about us? And so tell them your website again, so because I want you to get some referrals and things of that nature, especially if they, and what is, you said it's a college town, but what's the college in the town?
Auburn University. So, and everybody around here goes and yells "War Eagle." That's kind of what they do. It's like a war. It's the most bizarre thing I'm telling you you've ever seen. I'll be in an airport with something Auburn University on. War Eagle, War Eagle, out on the ski slope. So when I tell you this town has a lot of personality and it's very cool little college town, it really is. And so it's Auburn University. My website is sweethomeurburnal.com. Instagram is Sweet Home Auburn AL. And then my Facebook is Amy Barton Cotney, realtor at Tolan Realty. So, and I keep both. I also think too, for me personally, it works really well for me is I keep both Instagrams, business and my Facebook, completely different every day. You won't see the same post on my Instagram as you do my Facebook. Totally different clients. Like I said, I have California people and I have a lot of realtors on my Instagram, and then I have a lot of locals on my Facebook. So I just do yes, it's a lot of work, but again, you've got to create your own noise within all the noise to get seen. And so that's kind of like I think this past year it's really important as far as being your niche, figuring out your niche. Mine just happens to be business, passion, sharing the community for sure. On steroids, I'll go skipping around town. And everybody's like, oh, there's crazy Amy right there, and that's okay. I embrace it. I love it. So,
And I did see you skipping on quite a few videos, and I did see the big cinnamon roll sitting on your porch, and so I'm like, oh, that looks so delicious. I guess we'll both go have cinnamon rolls for breakfast as a result of this. You know what, Amy? I appreciate you. I appreciate your love for your community, for volunteering in your community. It's something that I'm also very passionate about. I do have this question, though, for you in closing.
oh no.
How many times per week do people walk up to you and speak and you know that you don't know them?
Oh, constantly. Constantly. They know me by my Instagram handle. Oh, you're Sweet Home Auburn AL. I mean, it is, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. It gets really weird. I'll tell you a funny story. This happens a lot. I mean, I would tell you 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, like not a week. I could be out on the street and somebody will go, hey, Sweet Home Auburn AL. And it's so bizarre. My husband, he is not on Instagram as much as I am. And we have dogs. I use my dogs a lot because people love a dog. So I have them on my Instagram a lot, and people know their names. So my husband was at Home Depot, and he takes the dogs there, his babies. He takes them there, and somebody comes up, oh, hey, is that Breck and Eli? And he's like, what? He's like, this is crazy, Amy. This is just crazy stuff. You need to quit putting the babies out there. Just like, I was like, these are dogs. These are not children. It was so funny, but I have that. I mean, I've had college kids. What's really crazy and very interesting, because I think I also, with my personality and probably with yours as well, a lot of millennials like that. And so I tend to, they navigate towards me a little bit, and I have a lot of millennial sales, but that I was in a local restaurant bar watching a ball game. Gosh, help me, 'cause that's not my thing, but I was there supporting the husband watching it. And a little 21-year-old girl stops me and she goes, "Oh, you're Sweet Home Auburn AL." So it's just, you don't know where, like, how the masses out there will affect your sales. Like, she could go to mom, let's buy a condo, and here's the realtor. Like, and because she follows me on Instagram. So it's weird. And that is because I did a business spotlight on a store that sells to the younger generation. And they all started, and they tagged me, I tagged them. That's the power of it all. And giving back, you receive in big time. So
What's funny as it pertains to your story, so I travel maybe 100 events a year, and my husband believes that Facebook is the work of the devil, so he does not have a Facebook account. And this past weekend, I was out of town, but this happens all the time, and he was like, "Marky, at least 3 people came up to me. Oh, I see you on Facebook. Oh, you're Marky's husband." And so the new joke is I put him on Facebook so everybody will know who he belongs to when they see him out here. Speak to him. Just don't get too cordial with him, but speak to the man. And it works like a charm. And they know him by his first name. That's so funny. So, Amy, we share a lot in common. I can't wait to see you at an upcoming Inventor event, because I'm sure that we can find umpteen more things that we have in common, including these husbands of ours who think we probably put them and the kids out on social media too much. But I thank you for your time and your energy today.
Awesome talking to you, and I hope to see you soon. Absolutely. Let's make that happen.
Let's make that happen in 2020.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good one.
You too.